everybody. Hello, hello, everybody. So, how are we all doing? Are we good? Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to all of you. Alright, let's get this coffee made. Let's get this coffee made. Oops, I forgot to add the book to the shop. Let's see. Alright, fixed it. Good, how are you? So, what I'm going to say is she's in a really good mood, but she slept a lot, so I don't see her falling asleep, or maybe she will, but at least she's in a good mood, so we'll still probably get coffee. Awesome, I agree. Good morning, everybody. So I don't know if she'll sleep, but yeah, we're a happy girl. We're a happy girl, huh? Are we a happy girl? Did I say good morning to you? I'm not. Good morning. Oh, this is important. My left hand is not strong. My left hand is useless, but that's okay. Since she's not, I did get a little bit of sleep. Yeah, I worked a lot of the time while she was asleep, but, you know, that's okay. Well-rested baby over a cranky anyway. Exactly. Yeah, alarm set for reading. Okay, let's go set up our stuff while you go to sleep. What do you think? Did we do all that ahead of time? So we don't have to worry. Look at that, see? We're being proactive, right? We're being proactive, honey. Okay. Okay. Let's be proactive. Yeah. Proactive girls. Yes, we are. We're proactive. She wants freedom time, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes. I know, my angel, I know. Just give mommy 1 second to make coffee, then we'll go play, I promise. I promise. I promise. Yes, yes, yes. We will play. Yes, yes, yes. I promise we'll play. I promise. I promise, promise, promise. Promise, promise, promise. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. We will play, play, play. We will play, play, play. Woo, 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 woo. My hair is doing some really weird things. Mwah. It's everywhere. It's doing weird stuff. It's everywhere. I swear her eyes are long enough. I know, right? I see my space right there. It is. That's your space right there. That's right. She's right. That is your play space. That's right. I know. How could Mama keep you in this wrap when you want to play? I know. What was Mama thinking? I know. We're almost done making the coffee. We're almost done. Almost done. Almost done. I promise you. Mommy's making coffee and then we're going to go play. It's okay. Good morning, Mom. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. See? That was all the milk. That was all the milk. a little bowl or a little cup maybe. Grapes in a little cup. And then, you know, they'll be there. Yeah. Okay, let's have all the snacks and all the milks and all the everything. It's all ready for us. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. How's everyone doing this morning? Are you ready for book 2? We're starting book 2 today. I know, it's going to feel so weird. That will be amazing, Amanda. What is happening here? Do you guys see my bangs revolting against me? Like, outrageous. Just outrageous. 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 Yeah, as soon as she can kind of crawl, you know. As soon as she can kind of crawl. All right, so book 2 we begin today of the Land of Stories series. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Baby hairs are doing this at yours too? Jeez. So it's catching, huh? All right. You say You say la 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 la. Okay. All right. Mommy's gonna get her coffee, take a sip. That would be nice, Amanda. That would be nice. It might be nice. It might be nice. Sasha, question, how much milk do you pour in halfway? So you have a frother, right? If you have the frother, I use the line on the frother, like the fill line on the frother. Yeah, that's what I do, if that helps at all. Okay, we're gonna do this very carefully. Ooh, okay, okay. Yes, I am pro froth as well. Okay, I'm gonna put you guys down for 2 seconds to get her out of here. Hold on. Oh, look, it's the tripod. Okay, hold on, come here. Yes, you see the very big tripod? Wow, so big. It's so tall. Let's get it down here to our level. Let's get it down here to our level. There it is, okay. There's the tripod. Now let's reorganize our life so that everything is where we need it. My God, my hair. It's just ridiculous. Okay. Okay. Glasses. Check. Book. Check. I think the fat content, like half and half, it froths better. Actually opposite. Well, it depends, right? So half and half does froth, but it's like harder to froth. I find that whole milk actually froths the easiest, but I do a combination of the creamer, whole milk, and half because I like just the consistency of it. The lighter milks, they actually froth up faster but thinner, and half and half takes longer to froth, but does have smaller bubbles, so it like holds better. If that makes sense. Yeah. Coffee making is a science. Yeah, thicker froth. That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Amanda. Okay, so are you guys ready to start book 2? That was a pretty good response, don't you think? She sounds like she's ready to start book 2. Are you ready to start book 2? You want your wolf for book 2? Take your wolf. There you go, you have your wolf. All right, so this book is longer than the last one, you guys. It's gonna take us a little bit longer to get through this one, but that's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's not a bad thing to take a little longer to get through the book. This book is called The Enchantress Returns. Go ahead and look at the cover because it tells you a lot about what's coming our way. We've got a polar bear, very angry over here. We've got some golden, oh, that's the harp from book 1, the golden harp. There she is. She's coming back apparently. Some kind of mer creature here. Got some interesting tails. Yep, that does look to be Froggy, you're right, and the kids. But I thought Froggy turned into a human, so that's weird that he's a frog, right? And then over here, you got what looks to be some snow action, you know, and then eyes, you know, and a real dark castle, and some floaty blimp looking thing, and the spinning wheel here. So that's what we have for our spoilers. And I don't consider those the regular kind of spoilers, like, you know, we don't do spoilers in book club, but like if it's on the cover of the book, we can talk about it, because like, be so for real with me right now. Do you want to take this? Grandma got you this. Yeah, you love that one. Good morning. So yeah, pretty exciting. We're gonna start today with the prologue. We'll see how far we get. Let's have some fun. This book is about 50 pages longer than book 1 was. So not so much longer, but like, or maybe 70 pages longer. But anyway, just as a reminder, here is our map of the kingdoms and where they all lay compared to one another. Okay, there's your map. And this is called The Land of Stories, The Enchantress Returns. To Hannah, for being the bravest, strongest, and most honest person I know, and for showing me that it's possible to be cursed when one has a heart. It's impossible to be cursed when one has a heart as courageous as yours. Also for giving me my first black eye. You were 4, I was 9. It still hurts. Bubba loves you. Hannah must be his sister, I can only assume. Yeah, you think that's funny? Yeah. Quote, "The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything." Albert Einstein. Whoa, that is a heavy quote for the world we are currently living in. Yeah, right? Yeah, she said it. She said, yeah, you're right, Amanda. It could be any of those things. I'm going to read it one more time because that is poignant today. "The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything." Albert Einstein. Yeah. Woo! Okay. Well, I think we know where we're headed for this. I'm going to move this just slightly so I can focus on her also. Yes. Yes. And we're going to read... Are you in such a good mood? Do you want one more sip of Milky's before Mommy reads? You don't really look like you do. No. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to have it. She's in a talky mood, but like a happy talky mood. So like it's cool. You know what I mean? Like you got it all over your face. There you go. Here, you want your llama? There you go. Take it. There you go. I know. It's so good. Prologue. The Rise and the Return. And it's a burning spinning wheel. Yikes. The East was in a period of great celebration. Daily parades marched through the village streets. Every home and shop was decorated in colorful banners and wreaths, and handfuls of flower petals were thrown and floated through the air. Each citizen smiled, proud of what they had recently accomplished. It had taken over a decade for the Sleeping Kingdom to fully recover from the horrific sleeping curse of the past, but at last it had restored itself to the prosperous nation that it had been before. Yay, Sleeping Kingdom. Can you say, yay, Sleeping Kingdom? Yay! The people of the East charged into the future, reclaiming their home as the Eastern Kingdom. A week's worth of celebrations concluded in the great hall of Queen Sleeping Beauty's castle. It was so crowded that the entire kingdom seemed to be there. Many had to stand or sit on windowsills, and the queen herself, her husband King Chase, and their royal advisor sat at a high table overlooking the festivities. Yeah. A small performance was taking place at the center of the hall. Thespians reenacted Sleeping Beauty's christening, portraying the fairies who had blessed her and the evil enchantress who had cursed her to die after pricking her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel. Luckily, another fairy reformed the curse, so when the princess eventually pricked her finger, she and the entire kingdom simply went to sleep. They slept for 100 years, and the performers took great detail in recreating the moment that King Chase kissed her and awoke them all. I know. Did you get stuck? You're having trouble turning over. You know how. Oh, you did it. See, you didn't need Mommy after all. You got it. Good job. Here, what's that? You don't need Mommy to turn over. You know how to turn over. You're a big girl, huh? Big girl. I think it's time we dispose of our little gifts from the Queen, a woman shouted from the back of the hall, and she stood up on a table and gestured to her wrist. Everyone in the kingdom wore flexible bands around their wrists made from tree sap. In the years prior, Queen Sleeping Beauty had instructed them to snap their wrists whenever they felt unnecessary fatigue. The bands helped the citizens stay awake, fighting off the lingering effects of the curse. Fortunately, the bands weren't needed anymore. Everyone in the great hall ripped them off their wrists and threw them happily into the air. Your Majesty, won't you tell us again where you learned a trick like this? A man asked the Queen about the bands. You will think strangely of me when I tell you, Sleeping Beauty said. It was from a child. Yeah, here. You want this one? Which one do you want? Which one? The wolf? You're so close, honey. You're going to crawl before you know it. Do you want to sit up? What? Look at you. You getting up on your knees. You are. Look at you go. Look at you go. Are you sure you don't want to stay like that? I'll sit you up if you want to sit, but this looks like fun. Yeah, you want to stay there. Mommy will read, okay? You'll think strangely of me when I tell you, Sleeping Beauty said. It was from a child. He and his sister were visiting the castle a year ago. He had said that he used a band to keep himself awake in school and suggested that the kingdom try it. Remarkable, the man said, and he laughed with her. Fascinating, isn't it? I believe the most extraordinary ideas come from children, the Queen said. If we only could all be so perceptive, we would find the simplest solutions to the greatest problems are right under our noses. Okay, are you frustrated now? Here. You can sit with your toys between Mommy's legs, and that way I'll hold you up. That way you won't tip. Okay. I know, she gets so excited. Here. Ba, ba, ba. Sleeping Beauty lightly tapped the side of her glass with a spoon. She stood and she addressed the eager people. My friends, Sleeping Beauty said, raising her glass. Today marks a very special day in our history, an even better day for our future. As of this morning, our kingdom's trading deal, crop production, and overall consciousness have not only been restored but improved since the sleeping curse was cast upon this land. Her people cheered so loudly that the castle shook with joy. Sleeping Beauty looked to the side and shared a warm smile with her husband. We should not forget the horrible curse of the past, but when we look back upon this dark time, let us remember how we triumphed over it, Sleeping Beauty continued, and small tears formed in her eyes. Let it be a warning to all who try to interfere with our prosperity. The Eastern Kingdom is here to stay and stands united against any force of evil that gets in its way. You want your milk? Here. Mommy will help you hold it. But you have to hold it up. You can't drink from it that way. It's not like the straw. It's not a straw. There you go. The approving roar was so loud that it actually knocked a man off the windowsill that he sat on. I have never been prouder to be among you than I am tonight, and here's to you, the jubilant Queen said, and the room joined her in sipping from their glasses. All hail Queen Beauty, a man in the middle of the hall shouted. All hail the Queen, the rest cheered with him. All hail the Queen! All hail the Queen! Sleeping Beauty waved at them graciously and took a seat. The festivities continued into the night, but just before midnight, the Queen was overcome by a strange sensation. It was a feeling she hadn't had in years. Well, isn't that bizarre? Sleeping Beauty said to herself, looking off into the distance with a smirk. Is there something wrong, my love? King Chase asked her. Sleeping Beauty stood and headed toward the staircase behind them. You'll have to excuse me, my dear, she said to her husband. I'm rather sleepy. She was just as surprised to say it as he was to hear it, because Sleeping Beauty hadn't slept in years. The queen had made a promise to her people that she wouldn't rest until the kingdom was properly restored, but now looking all around at the joyous faces in the hall, both the king and the queen knew that that promise had been fulfilled. "Good night, my love. Sleep well," King Chase said, and he kissed her hand. In her chambers, the queen changed into her favorite nightgown and slipped into her bed for the first time in over a decade. She felt as if she were being reunited with old friends. She had forgotten the feeling of cool sheets against her legs and arms, the softness of her pillow, and the sinking sensation as she settled into the mattress. The sounds of celebration could be heard in the queen's chambers, but she didn't mind. They were actually soothing to her. Sleeping Beauty took a breath and fell into a very deep sleep, almost as deep as the one during the 100 Years' Curse, except she knew that she could awaken any time she wished. When King Chase joined her later, he couldn't help but smile at the sight of his wife sleeping peacefully. "Oh, you finished it?" Sorry, hold on. I'm putting this down just for a second to help her. "I'm so glad you liked my book. Thank you for reading it and enjoying it. I'm glad you liked it. I would love to make another book as soon as I have time to write one. Yeah, I would love to. Trust me. I have 3 current ideas for books, actually. Yeah, one is 60,000 words written, and the other 2 are just in planning stage. Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that so much, Emily. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Okay. Where was I? King Chase joined her later, and he couldn't help but smile at the sight of his wife peacefully sleeping. He hadn't seen her look this way since the day he saw her for the first time. "What's wrong? What's wrong? Hey, hey, hey. It's right here. Take it. Take it. There you go." In the great hall, the celebration finally concluded. The lamps and fireplaces were extinguished throughout the castle. The servants finished cleaning up, and they were dismissed to their quarters. Sleeping Beauty and King Chase were awoken by a thunderous banging on their chamber door. "Okay, you want a grape? Do you want a grape? Here. No, no, no." The king and queen instantly sat up. "Your Majesty," a man shouted from the other side of the door. "Forgive me, but we must come inside." And the door burst open, and the royal advisor ran into the room, and a few dozen suited guards followed. "Hey, hey, hey, what's wrong?" There you go. They surrounded the king and queen's bed. "What on earth is going on?" King Chase yelled. "How dare you barge into our..." "I'm so sorry, Your Highness, but we must get the queen to safety immediately," the advisor said. "Safety?" Sleeping Beauty asked. "We'll explain on the way there, Your Majesty," the advisor said, "but right now we must get you into the carriage as fast as possible, and only you. Traveling alone will be much less conspicuous than a carriage transporting you and the king." The advisor looked at her with frantic eyes, begging her to oblige, and the queen just froze. "Chase?" Sleeping Beauty said, and looked to her husband because she wasn't sure what to do. The king was also at a loss for words. "Well, if they say that you need to go, then you must go," was all he could muster. "I cannot leave my people," Sleeping Beauty said. "With all due respect, Your Majesty, you're no good to anyone dead," the advisor said. Sleeping Beauty felt the pit of her stomach drop out. What did he mean? Dead? Before Sleeping Beauty knew it, the guards had lifted her out of the bed and onto her feet. They quickly escorted her and the advisor to the door. She didn't even get to say goodbye. They rushed down a spiral staircase to the lower levels of the castle. The stone steps were rough on the queen's bare feet. "Will someone please tell me what's happening?" Sleeping Beauty said. "We must get you out of the kingdom as quickly as possible," the advisor said. "Why?" she asked, starting to fight off the guards escorting her, but no one replied, so she stopped in the middle of the stairs, solid as a rock. "I will not move another step until someone informs me I am the queen, and I have a right to know." The advisor's face went pale. "I don't mean to alarm you any more, Your Majesty," he said with his jaw quivering. "But, shortly after midnight, after all the guests had gone home, 2 soldiers on duty near the front of the castle witnessed a bright flash of light, and a spinning wheel appeared out of thin air." Sleeping Beauty's eyes grew wide, and the color faded from her face.
They didn't think it was anything serious, maybe a foolish prank to spoil our party this evening, perhaps, he continued. The soldiers went to inspect the spinning wheel. Here, honey. Where are you going? Here. You don't want this? There you go. And it burst into flames, and as soon as it did, something else happened. And what was that? She asked. The vines and the thorn bushes that covered the castle during the sleeping curse, the plants that were cleared out and dumped into the thorn bush, they're growing back, he told her. I've never seen anything grow so fast. Nearly half the castle is covered already. The plants are consuming the entire kingdom. Are you telling me that the curse in the thorn bush pit has spread throughout the kingdom? Sleeping Beauty asked. No, Your Majesty, the advisor said with a heavy gulp. That was just an old witch's curse. This is dark magic. Some very powerful dark magic. The kind our kingdom has only been exposed to once before. No, Sleeping Beauty gasped and covered her mouth. You can't mean... Yes, I'm afraid so, the advisor said. Now, please cooperate with us. We must get you out of the kingdom as quickly as possible. And the guards grabbed a hold of the queen again as they traveled deeper into the castle. But this time she did not fight them. They ran down the stairs until there were no more stairs to descend. They shot through a pair of wooden doors, and Sleeping Beauty found herself in the castle's stable. There were 4 carriages in front of her, each circled by a dozen soldiers on horses and ready to depart at any second. 3 of the carriages were bright and golden and of course, the queen's personal collection. But she was escorted to a 4th one, small and dull, an unassuming one. And the soldiers surrounding this carriage weren't dressed in armor like the others, but they were disguised as farmers and townspeople. The guards lifted the queen inside of it, and there was barely enough room for her to sit down. I know, it's scary, huh? Do you want this? You want your llama? Llama. And my husband? Sleeping Beauty asked as she put a hand out to prevent them from shutting the door behind her. He'll be all right, ma'am, the advisor said. You want to sing? La, 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 la. Do you want to go in your chair? Do you want to go in your chair? Oh, what about your chair? Oh, wow. Oh, feet in, 2 feet. Feet have to go down there. Oh, wow, look at this. Oh, look at all these toys. Whoops. Well, I don't know if that was so nice, but here you go. Do you want one more sip of the milk? You have grape on your face. No, you don't want the milk. Okay, that's fine. She does not want the milk. You do not want the milk. No. Can Mommy take a sip of coffee while we're in this intermission? La 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 la. La 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 la. Your turn. Go ahead. That was a jingly bell. Okay. We'll keep reading then. He'll be all right, ma'am, the advisor said. The king and I will be traveling as soon as we send out the decoy carriages. We've had this plan since the castle should ever be under attack. Trust me, it's the safest way. I never authorized such plans, Sleeping Beauty said. No, these were your parents' orders, the advisor said. It was one of the last things they instructed before they died. This news made the queen's heart pound even harder. Her parents had spent the majority of their lives trying to protect her, and even in death, now they were still trying. Where am I going? She asked. The fairy kingdom for now, the advisor said. You'll be safest with the fairy council. The decoy carriages will be sent in the other directions as a distraction, but now you must hurry. He gently pushed her the rest of the way inside and shut the carriage door firmly behind her. Even the dozen guards surrounding the small carriage did little comfort to her. She knew this situation was beyond their ability to protect her. The advisor nodded to the decoy carriages and off they set. A few moments later, he nodded to her driver, and like a cannonball, the queen's carriage shot off into the night, the horses galloping at full speed. Through her carriage's tiny windows, Sleeping Beauty saw the horrors that the advisor had described to her. Scattered all across the castle grounds, she saw soldiers and servants fighting off the rogue thorn bushes and vines growing all around them. The plants grew straight out of the ground and attacked them like serpents wrapping around their prey. The vines crept up the sides of the castle, breaking through the windows and pulling people out, dangling them hundreds of feet in the air. Thorns and vines shot out of the ground toward Sleeping Beauty's carriage, and the soldiers were quick to slice them with their swords. Queen Sleeping Beauty had never felt so helpless in her her entire life. She saw villagers, some within reach of her carriage, fall victim to the leafy monsters, and there was nothing she could do to help them. All she could do was watch and hope that she could find help once she reached the fairy kingdom. The guilt of leaving her husband and the kingdom behind weighed heavily on her, but the advisor was right. She would be no good to anyone if she were dead. The castle grew smaller and smaller behind her as the carriage traveled away from the devastation, and soon they were passing through the forest, and all the queen could see outside were dark trees around them for miles. And even after an hour of traveling, Sleeping Beauty was as scared as ever. She kept whispering to herself under her breath, "We're almost there, we're almost there," although she had no idea how close they actually were. And suddenly a high-pitched whoosh came from the trees. Yeah, she looked over when I did that. Sleeping Beauty looked out the window just in time to see a soldier and his horse thrown into the forest beside the path. Another whoosh sound swooped toward them, and another soldier and his horse were thrown into the trees on the other side of the path. They had been found. Every other second was filled with terrified cries of the soldiers and horses as they were flung into the forest. Whatever was out there, it was picking them off, one by one. Sleeping Beauty crouched down, trembling on the floorboard of the carriage. She knew it was only a matter of time before the soldiers were all gone. One final swoop took the remaining horses and soldiers with it. Their cries echoed into the night. The carriage crashed to the ground, falling on its side and skidding across the ground until it came to a stop. Everything was quiet for now. There wasn't a sound of wounded soldiers or horses to be heard. The queen was alone. Sleeping Beauty crawled through the carriage door and carefully made her way to the ground. She was limping and clutched her left wrist, but was frightened. She barely felt her injury. Was the attack over? Could she call for help safely or search for survivors? Surely whatever was out there wanted her dead, and she would have, if they had wanted her dead, she would have been killed by now. Sleeping Beauty was just about to call for help when a blinding flash of violet light filled the forest. The queen screamed and fell to the ground, covering her face, but the flash lasted only a second. The smell smoked and got to her feet. She smelled smoke and got to her feet and looked around. The entire forest was ablaze, and every tree had been turned into a spinning wheel. There was no denying it now. The kingdom's greatest fear had come true. The enchantress, Sleeping Beauty whispered to herself. She's back. Dun, dun, dun! Someone is in her chair not even looking at me, so we can keep reading because she does not care what I have to say right now. The enchantress is back, ladies and gents. Chapter 1. A Train of Thoughts. The subtle jerks of the train rocked Alice Bailey awake. She looked at the empty seats around her while she remembered where she was, and a long sigh came out of the 13-year-old girl, and she neatly fixed a strand of strawberry blonde hair that escaped from her headband. No sleep in book club. Yeah, no, I hear you, Stephanie. Not again, she whispered to herself. Alex hated dozing off in public places. She was very smart and a very serious young woman and never wanted to give off the wrong impression. Luckily for her, she was only one of a few people on the 5 o'clock train back into town, so her secret was safe. Alex was an exceptionally bright student, and she had always been. In fact, she was so advanced that she was part of an honors program that allowed her to take an additional class at the community college in the next town. Since she was too young to drive and her mother worked the majority of the day at a children's hospital, every Thursday after school, Alex would ride her bike to the train station and travel the short distance into the next town for her classes. It was a questionable trip for a young girl to make by herself, and her mother had her reservations at first, but she knew Alex could handle it. This short journey was nothing compared to the things that Alex had handled in the past. Alex loved being a part of this honor program. For the first time, she was able to learn about art and history and other languages in an environment where everyone wanted to be there. When her professors asked questions, Alex was one of many people to raise her hand with answers. Another perk of riding the train was the downtime that Alex got to herself. She would gaze out the window and let her thoughts wander while she traveled. It was the most relaxing part of her day, and many times she would find herself drifting off to sleep, but only on a rare occasion like today would she actually drift off completely. Normally, she would wake feeling embarrassed, but this time Alex's embarrassment was laced with annoyance. She had just been having a disheartening dream, a dream that she had had many times over the last year. She dreamed she was running barefoot in a beautiful forest with her twin brother Connor. "I'll race you to the cottage," Connor said with a huge smile. He shared his sister's looks, but thanks to a recent growth spurt, he was now a few inches taller than her. "You're on," Alex said with a laugh, and the race began. They chased each other through the trees and over grassy fields without a care in the world. There were no trolls or wolves or evil queens for them to worry about because wherever Alex and Connor were, they knew that they were safe. Eventually, a small cottage came into view and the twins bolted towards it, putting all their energy into the final sprint. "I win," Alex declared when both of her open palms touched the front door a millisecond before her brother's. "Not fair," Connor said. "My feet are flatter than yours." Alex giggled and tried to open the door, but it was locked. She knocked, but no one answered. "That's funny," Alex said. "Grandma knew that we were coming to visit. I wonder why she would lock the door." She and her brother peered into the window. They could see their grandmother inside. She was sitting in a rocking chair near the fireplace. She seemed sad, and she slowly rocked back and forth. "Grandma, we're here," Alex said and cheerfully tapped on the window. "Open the door." Grandma didn't move. "Grandma," Alex said, tapping on the window harder. "Grandma, it's us. We want to visit you." Grandma raised her head slightly and looked up at them through the window, but remained seated. "Let us in," Alex said, tapping on the glass even harder. Connor shook his head. "It's no use, Alex. We can't go in." And he turned away and headed in the direction they had come from. "Sweetheart, what do you need? All these toys that you threw down? You want them all back now that you threw them all down? You want to throw them again and again and again? This one? What about this one from Grandma?" "Connor, don't walk away," Alex said. "Why bother?" he said, looking back at her. "Clearly, she doesn't want us in there." And Alex began banging on the window as hard as possible without breaking it. "Grandma, please let us in. We want to come inside. Please." Grandma looked up at her with a blank stare. "Do you want out? Do you want out? Out? You want up?" "Yeah, you want up? Okay. Come here. Come here. 1, 2, 3. Do you want to sit in this other chair for a few minutes?" What's this? What's this chair? Oh, wow, your reading chair. Oh, here's the other pig. We found him. Yay. Look, piggy, wolf, bunny. So many beautiful toys. You've got so many toys, sweetheart. "Grandma, I don't know what I did wrong, but whatever it is, I'm sorry. Please let me come back inside," Alex said, and tears began to spill down her face. "I want to come in. I want to come in." But Grandma's plain expression turned to a frown, and she just shook her head. Alex realized she wasn't going to be let in, and every time she came to this realization in the dream, she would then wake up. It might not have been a pleasant dream, but it had felt so good to be back in the forest and to see her grandmother's face again. It was obvious to her what the dream represented. It had been since the first time she dreamt it. However, Alex felt something different when she awoke this time. She couldn't help but feel as if someone had been watching her while she slept. When she first awoke, she had thought she hadn't paid much attention to it. She could have sworn she saw her grandmother sitting across from her on the train. Was it an actual sighting, or was it just her imagination getting the best of her? Alex couldn't deny the possibility that it had been real. Her grandmother was capable of many things. It had been over a year since Alex and Connor Bailey had discovered the biggest family secret. When they were given an old storybook from their grandmother, they never expected it would magically transport them into a fairy tale world, and never, in their wildest dreams, had they expected that their grandmother and their late father were from this world. I started to go like this as I'm talking, and she thinks that this is the fun. Where's the wolf? Here, let's do 2. We'll have 2 finger puppets in. We'll do this. They're gonna tell the story, huh? There you go. They had never expected that their grandmother and their late father were from this world. Traveling from the kingdom to kingdom and befriending the characters they grew up reading about had been the adventure of their lives. But the biggest surprise was when the twins learned that their own grandmother was Cinderella's fairy godmother. Their grandmother eventually found them and took them back home to their anxious mother. "I had to tell the school that you both had chicken pox," Charlotte told the twins' mother had said. "I had to come up with a good excuse for why you'd be gone for 2 weeks, and I thought, well, traveling to another dimension would probably raise a few eyebrows." Chicken pox? Connor said, Mom, you couldn't come up with anything cooler than chicken pox, like maybe a spider bite or food poisoning. Did you know where we were the whole time? Alex asked. Bless you. Bless you again. Well, it wasn't difficult to find out, Charlotte said. When I got home from work, I went to your room and I found the Land of Storybooks on the floor. It was still glowing. She looked over at the large emerald storybook and it was held tightly in Grandma's hands. Well, were you worried? Connor asked. Well, of course I was worried, Charlotte said. Not necessarily for your safety, but for your sanity. I was worried that the experience might overwhelm and frighten you, so of course I called your grandmother immediately. Luckily, she was still in this world, traveling with her friends. But after the second week of not knowing where you were, well, let's just say I pray I never have to experience that again. So you knew about everything? Alex asked. Yes, Charlotte said. Your dad was going to tell you eventually. He never got the chance. But how did you find out? Connor asked. When did Dad tell you? And did you believe him at first? Charlotte smiled at the memory. Well, from the moment that I saw your father, I knew there was something different about him, she said. I had just started my first week of nursing at the children's hospital when I saw your grandmother and her group of friends come to read stories to the patients. But I was completely smitten by the handsome man who was with them. He was so peculiar, and he stared around in amazement at everything. I thought that he was going to faint when he saw the television. It was John's first trip into this world, Grandma said with a smile. He asked me to give him a tour of the hospital, so I did, Charlotte continued. He was so fascinated to learn about it, the surgeries we performed, the medicines we used, the patients we treated. He asked if we could meet again later when I was done working so I could tell him more. And we ended up dating for 2 months and, well, we fell in love. But then, strangely, he disappeared without warning and I didn't see him again for 3 whole years. The twins looked to their grandmother, knowing a bit of the story already. Yes, I made him go back to the fairy tale world with me and I forbid him to return, Grandma said, and she slumped a tad. I had my reasons, and as you know, well, I was very wrong. But that's when he discovered the wishing spell and he started to collect the items like us so they could find his way back to you, Alex said excitedly. Here, do you want these? Hey, do you want a sip of water? Water? Yeah? Yeah. It's yummy, huh? Yeah. Is that good? Yeah, very nice. Baby level of happy. Charlotte and Grandma both nodded. Oh, wait, sorry, I missed something. Alex said, yeah, it really didn't take him that long. It just seemed like difference because we hadn't been born yet, and there was still, like, a lot of differences between the worlds, Connor added, and Charlotte and Grandma both nodded. I eventually saw him again at the hospital, Charlotte said, but he looked so frail and dirty, like he had been to war and back. He looked at me and he said, I know, she's old enough for water. I know, it's crazy. And she has her own, like, cup with a straw and everything. So she can drink it on her own, huh? Can you drink it on your own? Do you want to stay in your chair or do you want out? Really? Do you want to stay in your chair or do you want out? You want out? Or do you want these toys? Nope, not this one. Okay, understood. How about this one? How about this one? Okay. I almost just picked up her bottle instead of my coffee in case you're wondering where we're at mentally. She doesn't drink a lot of water, maybe like an ounce or 2 a day, but she loves it. Yeah, you love it, huh? Yeah. He looked at me and he said, you have no idea what I went through to get back to you. And so we were married a month later and we became parents a year after that. So to answer your question, what, you don't like this part? Can I see this? Can I see this? You think that's funny? Where's Mommy? Where's Mommy? Here I am. Where's Mommy? Where's Mommy? There she is. You think that's silly? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There you are. There you are. There you are. So the answer to your question is no. It wasn't hard to accept that your dad was from another world because somehow I had known all along. Oh, are you so done? You don't think we can read a little more? You don't want to read a little more? Do you want out of your chair first? Would that help? yeah, long ear for sure. Do you want out? Do you want out? Do you want to have one more sip of milk? This milk is only good for a few more minutes. Here. Here. Oh, yummy. No, you don't want it? Okay. Out. Okay, out. Out. You're coming out. Let's move this out of the way. There you go. There you go. Do you want to sit up? Do you want to sit up? You want this? Takes 2 hands. 2 hands. Yeah, there you go. Mommy will put her feet on either side of you. Sounds like she wants all of Mommy's attention. When doesn't she want all of Mommy's attention? Alex reached into her bag and she pulled the journal out that their father had kept while he was collecting the wishing spell items. The same journal that they found while they were collecting the items themselves. Okay. Well, at least we got the prologue and we got half a chapter. And then on Monday, we can read more, huh? Maybe you'll be a sleepy girl on Monday. What do you think? You want to be a sleepy girl? Do you want to lay down like this? Do you want to lay down like this? You can look over there. No. Do you want to talk to your friends? What do you want to say? You want to say la 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 la? No? You don't want to talk to them? Do you want to do row your boat? Row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily. Hold on, I'm gonna try to get it so that I don't know how. Wait, let me see. How can I get it so you guys can see this without seeing it? There we go. Okay, we go. Row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily. Life is but a dream. Yay! You know what we haven't learned yet? We haven't learned to clap yet. And that would be really fun, huh? If we could clap. If you could clap. Yeah? Do you want to do peekaboo? Can you say, where's Mommy? Where's Mommy? There she is! Where's Mommy? Where's Mommy? There she is! Yeah, you love it? Oh. You gonna kick Mommy? You gonna kick Mommy in the chest? At least it's better than the throat. Sometimes I get kicked in the throat, which is so much worse because I need my trachea. I need my trachea, honey. You don't think I need it, but I do. I need a trachea. I have to have one. You think that's silly that Mommy needs a trachea? Mommy doesn't think it's so silly. Mommy thinks she really needs a trachea. Do you want to sit down? You want to say hi, Aunt Renee? Renee's here. Say hi, Renee. Oh, she did. Okay. Well, I mean, that was... Oh, you want to say hi, Renee? Do you want to say hi to Ollie? Say hi, Ollie. Can you say hi, Ollie? Hi, Ollie. Okay. He doesn't need collarbones. I don't need a trachea. It is what it is. Oh, she said hello. Aunt Renee said hello. Like that with a lot of O's. Hello. You like it like that? Hello. Is that so silly? Okay, I'm gonna lay down for a second so Mommy can turn off the camera. I need a hand. Are you gonna let me use my hand? Here, let's see. Okay, ready? 1, 2. Mwah, 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 mwah. Did it go? What if I do raspberry? Oh, you know what? I wonder if she'll do it. Sometimes when I raspberry her, she'll raspberry back. Can you do it? No, you don't want a raspberry? Okay. Okay. All right. Say bye-bye, everybody. We'll see you on Monday. Say bye-bye. Can you say bye-bye? She said, no, I can't say bye-bye. Okay, we'll go to the farmer's market.